There we go. All right, we are live. Welcome to the Sales and Marketing Power Hour. Glad you could make it, Carol.
Thanks. Sorry. It's been quite the day. Oh, my goodness. If anyone out there has a clone, I need one.
No, the world cannot handle two Carol Morgans.
Oh my God.
So
well, I'm just going to have the one sit here and work. She's just going to sit here and type. She's not going out into the world.
Well, if you figure out how to make that happen, let me know, because I need that person.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share if I can figure it out. So sorry.
Okay.
I went upstairs and realized, oh my gosh, my kittens are still locked up. I've been locked up all day. I was like, I just had to run. So yeah, I've run upstairs, then upstairs again. I'm getting my workout like you do every day, Kimberly, in that townhome.
Yep, I go up and down, up
Hey,
and down.
Debbie. We got Debbie Boyd in the house.
Good morning, Miss Debbie, from all the way over in Seattle or in Washington State. Are you in Seattle or just Washington State? I don't know. So, well, way out there.
We got some fun people here. I see our friend Ben
Olympia.
Marks.
Oh, Olympia's beautiful.
Amy Alexander's here and Brian Kennedy's here.
And there's Mike Hoffmeister. Thank you.
And my sister that I'm not sure I know, Christy Morgan, is here. So I'm glad that I have a sister here. Oh, my friend Dina Gunderson is here. Gib Dickey's awesome. Here. We got some good folks. Jill Wise, also with BDX, is here. Our friend Judy Donnell.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will have more come on as we miss you too, Debbie. So I don't know what I would have done without you this year. Debbie's been my right arm with a committee, so at NAHB. So she's the bomb. If you ever get a chance for her to be your co-chair, take it.
Take her.
Oh, absolutely. She's fantastic.
So I love co-chairs at work. Yeah.
Maybe I can find a spot for her, Kimberly, now that you got that.
She is a good one, that's for sure. All right. Well, we have so much to get through today that we probably better kick this thing off. So we are glad that you guys are here. Happy New Year, I guess, because this is our first Power Hour. And I know many of you joined us last year. So we're starting fresh. We're starting new, got a whole new lineup. And we're going to be at this all year because we're crazy that way, aren't we?
We like this for whatever reason. I think actually the reality is it gives Kimberly and me an excuse to talk more.
So, as if that wasn't happening enough already, but no, it is fun, and we appreciate the feedback from all of you and the support from all of you. And if there's a specific thing you want to hear about, let us know. So we've got the next few ones planned out, but we'll line it up. We'll make it happen for you. So, there we go. Now I can change screen. So Carol, why don't you kick us off and introduce yourself?
Well, I thought I would kick off my introduction a little differently this year. I actually put this big presentation together this week for a potential client and did some shameless self-promotion, and it was kind of fun. So I thought I would do it again today. So I am founder and president of Denim Marketing. Our clients are located nationwide, and we love to put that experience to use for all of our future clients as well. I guess some fun facts. I presented the first ever social media program at IBS in 2008. I know Tammy remembers that. That's actually a very funny story behind that at some point, if you all want to know that off air. In fact, my team, our entire team is presenting for the third year in a row this year at IBS, of course, IBSX. So find us virtually. Myself, Mandy Holm, and Courtney Stewart will be presenting. This is my 14th year, holy smokes, presenting at IBS. I'm the creator of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, which is Atlanta's most popular news site for new homes news. That site was created in 2006. Yes, I've been blogging long before blogging was cool. I'm also the founder of a podcast, Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio. I've written 4 books on social media. I've created custom Facebook programs for IBS both last year and this year. I'm the author of a 3-part learning series on social media for NHB. And if you all haven't figured out yet, I'm highly involved with National Association of Homebuilders. I am this year's vice chair of the associates. I'm a past chair of PWB, past membership chair, former advisor to Greg Ugaldi, and in 2023, I will chair public affairs.
Good grief. I'm exhausted just listening to you. And you didn't tell me we were doing our full on bio. So
I just thought it'd be fun to do something different.
So, well, I will keep mine a little shorter and sweeter. My name is Kimberly Mackey, and I am the founder of New Home Solutions Consulting. I am a sales management consultant, and I like to say that what I do is I help builders to have sales be the engine that drives the train rather than running it off the track. So I work with policies, procedures, integration. I do training. I do coaching for sales leaders and company leaders, but the majority of what I do is help them to create those systems and those policies. So, and this is how you can find me. I'm also active at NAHB and a frequent speaker at the International Builder Show, although this year I'm only leading a discussion, so I got off easy for IBSX. But I am the incoming chair for the National Sales and Marketing Council. And I will be I know Judy's on here, so I got to get a plug in for associates. So I will be following Carol. I'll be the second vice chair for the associates committee. So that should keep all of us really, really busy. And the list goes on, but I will move forward today because I don't want to have any further ado before we get to Miss Tammy Smoot. Carol?
Tammy Smoot. We are thrilled to have Tammy here with us today. She's a regional sales manager with the Builders Digital Experience, which we all know as BDX. For more than 20 years, Tammy's been helping new home builders and developers sell more homes and increase their margins. An accomplished public speaker and sales trainer, Tammy excels at entertaining builder groups and promoting new concepts and ideas. We are looking forward to her entertainment value today. She has spoken at the International Builder Show, the 21st Century Building Expo, the NAR Convention, and many state and local HBA events. She is also actively involved in the National Association of Home Builders. She is currently the chair of the IBS Education Selection Committee and will serve as the Education Committee's second vice chair for 2021. Tammy is a past chair of the National Sales and Marketing Council, past chair of the Professional Women Building, as well as the North Carolina Professional Women in Building and the North Carolina Associates Council. She has been honored with the National Sales and Marketing Council Bill Molster Award and the Professional Women in Building Woman of the Year. So with no further ado, we introduce Tammy Smoot.
So, and apparently Tammy comes with her own fan club. So last night I was getting emails back from people saying, loves me some Tammy Smoot. I'm like, well, who doesn't? So
thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I always love to hang out with y'all. And yes, if we had more time, Carol and I could go into the stories of early IBSs.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess I will add as an aside, if anyone on this webinar is interested in getting more involved at the national level, then any of the three of us is more than happy to have a conversation with you and help you get plugged in. So just reach out to us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, and Carol, I see that the Q&A is active. So if you can maybe follow that. So I
can do that.
Thought I had that one disabled, but obviously I didn't. So.
Well, it's a hi y'all for Ben Marks. So I got that. Hi y'all back. It's nice to have you here. Glad that you're with us today, Ben.
I love that Southern Atlanta y'all.
I had to say y'all. Hi y'all. I got to do my East Tennessee. And that's hard to turn on. Well, you can do that one too, Kimberly.
Oh yeah. So. Oh yeah, for sure. Every time I cross the Tennessee state line. So let's talk about reach, Carol.
Let's talk about reach. So reach really equals marketing. Today, there are many, many, many ways to reach your target audience. Digital ads, traditional ads, email marketing, listing services, blogs, PR, events, and of course, social media. So we're going to talk a little bit more about all of these today. But as it relates to social media, both your marketing team and sales team can work together to expand your reach. And this is something that I always see as kind of a missed opportunity. Not always. Some companies do it very well, but this is typically an area where we can all improve. So the marketing team posts the content and they post all the messages about the new homes, other products, services, everything you have to offer to your pages. But then the sales team can go in and share those posts to their friends. and contacts on those various social sites. And that's the one thing we don't always see happening is the sales team. And then even just, everyone who works for that company sharing it. We all have friends who are looking for houses, right? Especially right now, it seems like everyone's moving. So it's a great way to get a little bit more lift by having your staff, having your salespeople share this information. Incentivize staff and agents to do this if you need to. I mean, chances are all of us have one or two friends who are a co-op agent who could bring our builder a sell. So just, kind of an easy thing you can add to the list. If you need help on ideas on how to incentivize people to do this, let me know. Happy to help with that.
So you want salespeople to comment too, right?
I was going to talk about that when we get to engage, but yes, okay. I do want them to comment.
So yeah, it's amazing to me how many people are afraid to comment. It's like they can type out entire, all these big long things on social media, but then you ask them to make a comment on something,
and it's scary. Well, a lot of people just don't like to write.
Yeah, well, they do, but not on
social media.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And timing is everything for reaching out and engaging and everything that we're going to be talking about with, and that causes the acceleration, which of course is our theme for today. But timing, you need to understand as you are reaching out to people that they may not be immediately a buyer.
Right.
But they need that support and they do need information and they're starting to think about it. So figuring out where somebody is in their process will help you to know how to engage with them. And here for the salespeople who are on, I know we love those A buyers. We want those people who are ready, willing, and able today. Those are great. But you know what? Tomorrow you're going to need a ready, willing, and able buyer, and next month, and 3 months from now, and next year. So we still have to engage with those people. Maybe it's just at a little different level and a little different frequency and pace, but don't forget them. And of course, today we're going to be talking about lots of tools and lots of things that can help you because it's hard. It's hard to shuffle and do everything that you're asked to do today, especially with the pace of the way things are going right now. But we can't shortcut this stuff because if you're shortcutting the stuff you're doing today, you're shortcutting your future and your company's future. And we definitely cannot do that. So pay attention to that timing and pay attention to the when as you're getting to the why people are engaging with you. Tammy, you probably have some thoughts on this particular subject too.
I do. I do. And can you want to flip to that next slide? I think our next slide is a little bit on timing there, Kimberly. Oh, well, it kind of is. So we talked about timing. It is very important. Buyers reach out to us for a variety of reasons. And when we look at things, we look at leads coming in. And I was joking with Kimberly and Carol previously. We were talking about this. And some of it is we are talking in different languages. So a buyer reaches out because they have a question. There was something that they didn't know. They had an issue, a concern, or there was something they were interested in. Can I put fences in that community? Can I put in a pool, right? What are the schools? So they reach out for that. They may be at various stages in the sales process. They give up their name, their email address, sometimes their phone number. They give up personal information for us because they want something back from us. Now, had they been able to read that on your website or on the lead source, on New Home Source, they may not have done that, but they did. They gave us that personal information, and that's very few buyers do that. We know that it's 2 to 3 to 4%, depending on who you want to ask, but there's very few people are willing to give up that personal information. So when they do, they need a timely response back from us, but they also need to be treated where they are in the process. So one of the things that Kimberly mentioned to me that she was having good success with was asking buyers questions, right? People give up their information and you can ask a question. A really easy question to ask is, what's your time frame, right? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 6 months? Do you need a house tomorrow? Now, everybody on this call would hope that we want the house tomorrow, right? And we want to have one to put them into because that's just how we are. But that may not be the case. But 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now, I am guessing that you are going to want to have buyers then too. Buyers ask a question. They wanted a question, they wanted a response from us. When we get a lead, an email lead or a phone lead, what builders hear, oh my gosh, they're sending a contract and an earnest money check. I'm going to get it tomorrow. And they are two different things. We're not speaking the same language. So that timing, understanding your timing is crucial. Long-winded answer, Kimberly.
Yeah, but that's, you're spot
Great
on.
points.
Yeah. I even said that this little funnel here, I would turn this around and say it's leads, prospects, and then sales. You know, so you're getting these sources from so many different places, and salespeople are like, oh, well, it's from this one or it's from that one. I don't have to respond back to that. But your timing for all of this stuff is yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
ASAP. You know, if you've got leads that are coming in from New Home Source, and that lead is going to somebody, and it's like an admin or somebody in the office or a sales manager, because you don't have that OSC, that online sales counselor, and it's sitting there for a day, and then it's going, because maybe it's the weekend, or maybe they're in a meeting, and then it's funneling out to the salesperson that maybe it's their day off or this, and it could be a day, it could be 48 hours, it could be 72 hours to give a response. So Tammy, I'm asked that all the time. Why do people give me all this information and then they don't respond to me? Well, how old is it? You know?
Right, right.
And one of my things I talk about when I talk with sales teams about leads, and when we talk internally about leads, someone gave up that personal information. It's a common courtesy for us to respond back with a personal answer. They may have got an autoresponder. All your new home source leads get an autoresponder. It comes back and says, hey, someone will be with you shortly. They got a brochure, they got some information, but you can't beat the personal touch of, hi, Kimberly, it's Tammy here with XYZ Builder. I saw that you're moving from Florida, and that's a great move. You're going to love living in the mountains. It's beautiful here. When will you be visiting? Right? Can I tell you about? Did you know that we're so excited here at XYZ Builders? We just won an award for our Parade of Homes entry. Can I send you the virtual tour so you can take a look at that? But there's a personal information, and we live in a time right now where everything is so fast paced and we are so disconnected from people around us that just that personal touch oftentimes sets you apart. I get leads just like everyone on this call does, and all of us do. The phone call. People love a phone call. They do. They like to, even if they don't answer, they like your voicemail. Hi, it's Tammy. I just saw that I got this information from you and thought I'd call and say hello and see if you had a minute to chat. So it's the personal information, it's the personal touch, brings us back into where these people are today. We all miss the personal touch. Every one of us misses going to conferences and seeing people in person. And not that Zoom isn't wonderful, it is, but we do all miss a personal touch. And anytime you can give that to a buyer, you can set yourself apart. Really sets you apart that you are the person who cared. You didn't send the form letter. You didn't jump through that. It doesn't have to be a novel. Sometimes it's 3 sentences, but personal is very better. Very better.
Very better.
It's very better. Yes,
very better.
It is very better. Much, much better.
So
people want to know that they're heard today. I think people they don't feel like they're heard, or they feel like they have to shout to get our attention or anybody else's attention to get service. The past 2 weeks, we needed something for my son's car, and my husband called multiple times. I called multiple times. My son called. I had to physically get in the car with my son, drive to the dealership, and stand there to get somebody to respond and give me what I needed. I mean, that's insane. So that should never happen, and there shouldn't be that many touches. Don't make it hard, is what I'm saying, for your buyers to find out what they need from you, and to be heard. That is all about that customer experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about engage. Engage means to participate or be involved in, to form a connection. And, Kimberly and Tammy both have talked a little bit about this. It's actually participating in that relationship and forming that personal connection. And again, pet peeve, it isn't enough to just blast social media messages out there or email or anything else. You've got to be prepared to respond and respond with that personal connection. So, actually liking people's comments on Facebook, if they've commented on your post, liking it's great. But if you could take it a step further, maybe they've responded to your this and or that, and they've said that they like that pedestal sink better, or that, bathtub better, or that hardwood floor. Ask them why, ask them why, and ask them what they're looking for in a house, and ask another question and see if you can really pull them out of their shell. And if they've asked you a question, you better make sure you answer that one, because those are potential buyers. People aren't jumping out there on Facebook and asking questions on your post unless they're really interested. Think about that, and they're just not going to. So them asking a question on social media is as good as a lead. You've just got to turn it into a lead. The other thing, and actually I see Amy Alexander saying 100%, Carol, engagement is huge. And so many people don't do it. I know, guess giving a plug for Do You Convert, I think in one of their last surveys they did, part of that survey was going on to builders' social media sites and commenting and asking questions just to see what happened. And I think that we all failed miserably. So that's something that, the whole home building industry has room to improve on. And I put in the chat, and if you all want to, kind of respond back while we're all sitting here chatting, what are your most effective lead sources? Kind of looking back to that funnel. Where are you getting your leads, and are you tracking those? Do you know when they fill out the contact form where they're coming from? And if not, that's something you can add through your Google Analytics, so that you're tracking those conversions, so that you know where they're coming from.
And your CRM, should be tracking that and telling you what you're doing working.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the important things too, when y'all talk about that, one of the things that we look at a lot, our digital consultants look at a lot with builders analytics is that, and CRM systems, is that secondary source. So we know that people are in this sales buying funnel a lot longer than we give them credit for. We all want to think that they're going to buy a house in 3 months, and that's just often not the case. But knowing what sources, meaning multiple, that you are looking at, right? Just knowing one, first click or last click attribution, isn't helping you a ton. You need to know how they go through that customer journey and how many places they go to get their information and what works for you. A lot of times I talk to builders and they're like, all of our traffic is organic. It's all organic. And we know that's not the case. We know that isn't the case. Or it's set up one way. Secondary sources, you want to know all the points that you touch them at throughout the process, because if you know what those are, you can start to duplicate them for other buyers. Knowing who your demographic is, knowing who your profile is, you can make that work for you. It's very valuable information. If you don't have it, you're kind of making decisions based on half the information or a third of the information, or 20% of the information.
Am I hearing you correctly? So what you're saying is that not all of our buyers come from signs?
Oh my gosh, I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
But I was just driving by.
I was just driving by. No, well, that's fantastic in the middle of left Egypt. That you were just driving
in an
by.
infill neighborhood where you had no signs.
Right, yes. So you've got to know, well, that's great. I'm glad my sign is still up out there, because sometimes they get run over, stuff happens. But may I ask you, what's going on in your world that made you pay attention to the sign?
Yes. Yes.
And then as you engage with them and finding out, well, hey, did you happen to see on Facebook, we put that floor plan up the other day, or we showed where we're digging this floor plan. There's so many ways to find out where people are engaging with you without it being 20 questions and sounding like you're drilling them. We can truly personalize that engagement.
Kimberly, we have that happen frequently, because we do track a lot of things, right? We do look at the customer journey. It's really, we do a lot of research on that. But funny, true story about the builder who had the buyer who came in, right? Who had come from the sign, right? Sign, drive by. They drive by, sign. So they came in and told the on-site agent that they wanted to see a particular home. Amazingly, that must have been on the sign, right? I guess we could all see that on the sign.
Yeah.
They wanted to see a particular home. So the agent says, well, we don't have that particular home. And they said, well, we were looking at another home 2 streets down, or told where they were looking at. And when I got in the car, I was looking at my email and I got this ad came up, and we didn't know you were here, but we saw this, and we saw this, and there was this video in it, and I clicked on the video, and I love this house and I want to see it. So we came here to look at this house. But they drove by. They were a drive-by sign, was the procuring source of sale, right? And the retargeting banner that they got, the physical retargeting banner, that didn't play into it all, nor did the virtual tour that they clicked on in the mail, nor did the follow-up that they got now, because they've been retargeted through their social media follow-up. None of that played into it. It was a drive-by. And they felt that it was a sign when they got that ad.
Yeah, and salespeople, I'm going to speak to you directly on this, and sales managers, because you've got to hold your sales team accountable. If you're not really teaching your salespeople about these tools, because I know that salespeople are just not automatically technology experts, and they are not marketing experts. That's not why we hired them. You have to teach them this stuff so they understand the importance of what we're doing and how it's working behind the scenes, and how they have to meet the buyer where the buyer is. So it's like a be back at that point.
Yeah, they are.
They've already taken a tour of it. They've already been there before, at least virtually.
They have.
So, and today we saw a lot of buyers, that's all they're virtually having these experiences and never entering our communities.
Yes. Yes, we sold large amounts of homes in the last year to people who'd never physically been there. That the virtual tours, the new virtual tours, in all truthfulness, are so high quality. They are so good that it is like you are there. It's a process to build them because they're built from the CAD plan, but they are so realistic, right down to that you can see every single detail of that home, and in very good clarity. I mean, it's very impressive what we're doing today as opposed to 10 years ago when we first started doing this. So the buyers really don't
2 years ago.
The buyers really just don't, they're not as intent on that. Plus they can see a digital model home of every home you build, a digital furnished model home of every floor plan that you build. So only selling the model, which used to always be a problem, that we'd get halfway through a neighborhood and have to create some more front elevations of the model because we couldn't build anymore because we had too many of them. We don't have that. We have virtual models of everything we built now.
And those are savings of doing that versus building, a bunch of models that, I understand you're going to get the money back usually when you sell them, but it's eating up a lot of your cash flow by doing that when you can. You can do the virtual instead. This, Tammy, I thought was just a tremendous slide, especially about responding at least first hour. I think we're being generous. It should be immediate or ASAP, but do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Right. This is some information. It's just talking about, back to your timing. Timing is everything, right, Kimberly? Timing is everything. Buyers like to hear back from us quickly. They had a question, and I know that I've said this multiple times. They just don't give up the personal information for the fun of it. And I talk to builders all the time. I'm like, oh, how many lead forms do you fill out? Well, I don't put that out there. What do you mean? Division presidents, if we have any division presidents on the phone, y'all are my favorites because none of you ever fill out anything, but yet you are curious why your buyers don't do it. But we do, and the buyers expect to hear something back. And we know consistently there's study after study, there's more information out there than you would know what to do with. Do You Convert does it every year. The Boca Group does it every year. We do a lot of it about what these buyers are looking for. And they do, they want a quick follow-up. The AI bots and the chat bots, if you haven't looked at AI bots and chat bots, I know you've got that coming up in a seminar with Dave, but if you haven't looked at those, I would encourage you to do that. Don't freak out. It doesn't mean that we as salespeople are going away. It doesn't mean that at all. but it does take a lot of the pressure off, because that AI bot can answer a lot of those questions immediately. And the AI bot's job is to connect that person, to get that person to throw off their invisibility cloak, say who they are, and connect with us as a builder, and personally connect with us. So there are tons of those out there, but that quickness of being able to do that sets you apart so many times. And Kimberly's got another one in here, and I'm going to save some bad news for you all, so I won't talk about it now, but there is, I can't encourage you enough to be fast on your follow-up.
And I think that's the key. And I think we have, some smaller builders and some custom builders that are part of our audience here. And guys, the speed is everything. So put a system in place. Consider an OSC, consider chatbots, consider some of these things at whatever level you are. At least make sure there is someone who is dedicated to answering quickly. Make sure they can. Make sure if they're assigned a real job in addition to that, so that job allows them to be able to drop whatever they're doing and answer those leads and answer it very quickly. When we were putting this together, we spent a lot of time talking about make it personal. So it's got to be. It's funny how Tammy was sharing with us some of the chatbot conversations and how personal those get very quickly. And people know they're talking to a chatbot, so maybe they're more willing to share it. But maybe it's just that the chatbot asks good questions.
The chatbot keeps answering. The chatbot is closing. They're closing. They're constantly closing. They're closing so many more times than anyone. They're closing for that conversation. And they keep asking the questions. The chatbot's not afraid to hear no, or that I didn't understand, exactly. Or doesn't feel bad, right? That they didn't get their point across. The chatbot just keeps asking, when would you like to schedule your tour? When would you like to come visit? I don't know the answer. Can I connect you with the person? We saw one recently. It was 83 chats back and forth between the chatbot, the AI bot, and the potential buyer. Now, 83 chats into it, I would have probably given up at about 12 chats, right? As a salesperson, like, oh, hold on, you're gonna have to talk to me on the phone. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, pick up the phone at some point. Right. I have a 3-text rule.
Yeah, the chatbot doesn't get frustrated. It always has the same tone, So there's a lot of advantages. The same with the live chatbots. Those are a great tool as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you made a great point on the chatbot, because you can program it, and they learn, mm-hmm. and they can respond. So they help free up your online sales counselors for when the person has a question that the chatbot can't answer. So they can do a lot of the heavy lifting before the buyer gets really serious, or before you need to make that appointment or take it to the next level. So that chatbot can help weed out a lot of leads that might not be really that hot lead. And I guess I'm curious, those of you guys on the call who do field the leads for your company, I have heard from multiple builders now that the market is so incredibly hot that they've gotten more leads since the holidays than they did all of last year. I've heard that from a very large builder, and I've heard it from a medium builder, and I've heard it from a smaller builder. Are you guys seeing the same thing? Are your leads just completely on fire right now? I'd love to know.
I know they are for my clients.
Yeah. I also happen to know that Atlanta is up for the first 2 weeks of January. Pending sales for this year up something like 20% over last year. And last January was crazy. So, I mean, is everyone buying a house? Apparently so.
I think they're tremendous. I will share with you all, our traffic on New Home Source has been through the roof. I mean, people are out there, they're engaged, they're looking, they may not be buying it today, right? Which is one of the things that worries me, but they are engaged, they are looking, and our traffic is crazy busy. It's just amazing to me what we're seeing. Leads are up, traffic is up, the buyers are out there. And I often have to wonder if we're seeing more digital traffic, right? We're seeing these people because they are still more at home. Right. In most parts of the country, people are still more at home. So, and we've made it easier. We're making it easier. The VR tours, the Matterports. We're making it easier for them to shop at home. So then they
Right.
do have real questions that maybe they would have come out and saw us in person for, but now they can ask us online.
Yeah, most of my builder on-sites are telling me I've been telling them for years, you've got to make appointments because you're 50% more likely to convert a sale. But they're all telling me now, they're like, I love working by appointment. This is great. I'm getting people who are ready, willing, and able. They're serious. And that engaging with them at whatever level they're coming in the funnel through the chat bots and through all of this, you're going to be able to help that buyer to get further along before you actually have to have that FaceTime. So Shay put up here that her problem is that everyone needs a move-in ready now, and we're sold out. You are not alone. So don't feel like you're the Lone Ranger in this, which is good because that can actually be your jumping off point to your conversation to make it personal with that buyer and explain that, hey, I hear you. Everybody that I'm seeing today wants something and wants something right now. The problem is we can't build them fast enough and it's only going to get worse. So let's start talking to you now about what you need in a home and what you're going to need in a home for the next 5, 10, 15 years, because you don't want to make, to just jump into a house that's not the home for you. Because it is a long-term buying decision, and that just opens up a whole conversation that you can have.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that, gives you the opportunity. We've got Let's Get Personal on this slide. You can personalize that home for them. They still have the opportunity to, if you're a builder that lets people move things around, you can move things around. If you're a builder that lets them, option, a sunroom, or different things, early in the process, the sky's the limit. So they can really get their dream home and, talk about a great opportunity. I also see in the chat, and this is one of Atlanta's top, I think, 5 biggest builders, Rose Humphrey comments that last week was an all-time high for them in terms of leads. So it's nationwide apparently, and everybody wants a new home, which is great for us. Would also love to know, we touched on this a little bit, but I'm hearing, I don't know of any here in Atlanta or any that are in our portfolio of clients who've done this, but I'm hearing that some builders have gone completely to appointment only just so that they can spend more one-on-one time with those prospects. Has anyone on this webinar done that, and how has that worked out? Let us know that in the chat as well.
I see one of my clients on here that I know is appointment only, and Lori Asaro might chime in too. I see her out in California. I think they have to.
Oh, wow.
I think they're shut down where she is.
They are shut down. Yep.
Yeah. So maybe she can chime into the chat here if you don't mind. Well, I love putting Lori on the spot. So,
well, and we do have a response from April Drew, if I pronounce your last name correctly. She says, I'm by appointment only and it works amazingly well. Washington, Debbie says in Washington, they're making appointments. And Lori says, ha ha to us, Lori Asaro says.
So I'm going to throw something out there that there are so many schools of thought on this, and there never seems to be a shortage of opinions on this, but I'm just going to share something that really flies in the face of what we've been told. And honestly, I had a builder teach this to me because I had a builder who had a contact us form that was ridiculous. And I went, wait, people are telling you all of this stuff, and they made it all required. Now, they were custom scatter site builder, and their buyers had very specific needs, and they came into that funnel extremely engaged. They had just purchased land and they wanted to know if this would work for them. And, so they taught me though, that we do get buyers who are further along in the funnel when we give them the opportunity to give us more information. Now, I know there's a school of thought out there that just says, give us your name, give us your email, and don't worry about anything else, because we want to be able to engage with them electronically. But I'm going to suggest to you that if you ask more, don't make it mandatory, but ask more, you will be surprised how you can get more information, which makes it so much easier to engage with that buyer on a personal level. This is actually one of my builders' contact us forms. And I've circled here at the bottom because they have where you referred to us by a real estate agent, but so that we may better serve you, please provide some additional information. So we don't want the form to get ugly and long and cumbersome, but we give the buyer the opportunity to check this box, which opens up a secondary form. And all of this funnels straight into our CRM. It matches our registration form that we have in the model center. So it's exactly the same conversation that a salesperson would have if they were face to face with that buyer. And it's allowing us to, once that buyer does engage, allows us to meet them more where they are in their process. So I know this is a little controversial, and Tammy, I know you've got builders who do it kind of all sorts of ways and have
Right.
different forms on different landing pages, and
Right.
yeah,
We do.
what
We
you
see
think?
all kind of different things. One thing I can tell you is when you start requiring information, making it a required field, you will decrease the amount of leads you are getting. Now, sometimes people will go, oh, thank heaven, that's good. I don't want those people if they don't want to give me their phone number. Yeah, maybe not. You want to put those people in the pipeline because 6 months, 18 months, 12 months, whatever it is from now, you may want those folks, right?
Mhm.
So Kimberly said, we don't like the required part. I see a lot of success with different contact forms on different pages, because when a buyer gets to a certain page and they're asking information, having that on a different questions on those pages can be very valuable to you as a follow-up tool, right? If I generated my contact form from the property detail page, when I've got down into the details on particular homes on your website, that is somebody who's really engaged. They've gone down a lot farther, they're digging in. That would be a place to have a different question on your contact form. Are there specific things that you are looking for in a home, specific features that you are looking for, right? They may be looking for the dog wash. They've drilled down enough to do that. If they're generating a lead from a map page or a community page, they may be interested in a location. Your question might be something in effect, are you looking for a specific location within Atlanta, right? So different things will give you more information. The other thing that I'm surprised that more builders don't take advantage of is the augmented leads. And Kimberly and Carol and I had a few laughs about this earlier when we were talking about this program. There's so much information out there about it. It is amazing what you can see. So if you do New Home Source, we give you augmented leads, meaning you get a lead back that has additional data about that buyer. Now, here's what I wouldn't do. I would not pick up the phone and go, "Hey, Carol, see you own that house that's worth $700,000 in Des Moines, Iowa, and you're moving to Atlanta, and you have 3 kids." And I probably wouldn't go that direction, because then they're going to think you're really weird and report you to the police. But having the information about demographic information, they're stalking them, right? Having information about that person that is generating that lead is very helpful, because it can help you tailor your response and make it more personal. It's a huge benefit, and I personally don't understand why everybody doesn't do it. I would tell my clients to do it. I do tell them that. Why not? Why would you not want that if it was available to you?
And
So anything that you can find like that, that you can help you personalize, that is an excellent tool.
So, and this is a little off topic, but Mike Hoffmeister is asking about Realtor Relationships, and that builders were trying to, quote, push out. So Mike, I hope not, because I think that's really short-sighted. And I know Tammy has a slide that can show us, some of the headwinds that may be coming. So just remember this, builders. Now is the time that you want to have a good relationship with good realtors. So you don't need to have a relationship with thousands of realtors. I always say 25 good realtors as a VIP for my on-site salespeople. That those realtors, and a VIP is defined as someone who knows you really well, has you on speed dial, and is going to bring you 2 deals a year. Those are the people I want to do business with. I want to do business with the ones who are going to be engaged in the process, understand what my unique selling propositions are, and are going to help support that process. And we're going to do good business together. So I'll pay for that all day long as a builder, because that's about the most qualified lead you're going to get. And it's going to be a pleasurable experience for everybody concerned. So, your realtors are your outside sales force. So I'll just throw that in there. Hopefully, Mike, that I'm sure Mike's going, preach it, sister. I can hear him. I can hear him saying it.
Yeah. I haven't seen anyone kicking the realtors out, not with any of our clients anyway.
We've got some national builders who are reducing commissions and making it tougher and making it harder for realtors to register. So yes, we do have some who are doing that. And I would just say realtors have long memories.
They do.
Yep. So
we've taught this. We've taught this multiple times at IBS, builder realtor relations, and that I spoke about that at the NAR conference. And it's funny because every time we go through one of these cycles, and when you get old like me, you'll start to notice these things, but we go through one of these cycles where the world is on fire. It is our oyster, it is everything is great for us. We're selling so many houses, we don't know what to do with ourselves. And think back, 2005, 2006, 7 in there, that was the case. What happens is when the market turns and those realtors are out there who are your friends, that Kimberly's VIP list, right? Those people will save your behind. I mean, back in the late 90s when I was selling new homes on site, I had my little VIP list. I'll be honest, Kimberly, I didn't have 25 because I didn't know you then, but I had my little VIP list, and they saved my behind more than once of bringing me buyers because I treated them like gold. And I think it is, to your point, it's very short-sighted to throw those folks away.
It's been a minute or two since I've been on site. But I can still pick up the phone. I mean, these people are people, most of them I'm still in contact with today. They're still in the business, or their kids are in the business now because I'm old. But, it's these are family. They're family members. And those are the people that when I knew I had an appointment with these people, I was coming in if it was my day off or whatever, because we were going to write a sale. So it was always worth it. And yeah, and Facebook has made it easier to stay in connection with them. But if I'm out and in this market and helping one of my builders here, I can always pick up the phone. If there was that inventory home that just wasn't moving for whatever reason, I can call my VIPs and get them out to show it. So, these people they're worth their weight in gold. So don't burn those bridges.
Yeah, Kimberly, that's a great example of that personal relationship and why you want to
Mm-hmm.
form those personal relationships, because people like to work with people, and yeah, they'll bail you out in a crisis. So
yeah, Lori said she just did a survey of local builders that are they're reducing commissions, and they're all going to a low flat fee. So I'm saying you might go the opposite direction. I just recommended to one of my builders in Ohio that, hey, while this is happening in your market, we may want to go a different way, and we may actually want to offer an incentive, because now's the time to set yourself apart with these realtors. And I know realtors don't go anywhere where there's a bonus, but they do go where there's a bonus. So we're running that, and we're seeing our realtor appointments go up. And traffic and inquiries. And we just started it. And it's a small local builder in a very niche market. And it's pretty incredible to see what's happening just from them getting the word out. And it's only going to go up. So again, they're playing the long game. And I think that builders need to understand it is a long game. So,
I love seeing this.
Just manage your registration process. You don't want to pay realtors who are not the procuring cause. I will say that.
Right.
So,
Susan Brevard says one of the production builders in the Tulsa area has increased their realtor percentage from 3% to 4%. And yeah, we're working with a builder who's promoting their 3% that they'll pay for the co-op sale. So, I agree. If you're still paying it, start promoting it.
And get credit for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One of the main friction points that we always see with builders and realtors working together is the educational component. And yes, we all do this for money, right? We didn't do it just for the goodness of our hearts. We're not out here working every day. But one of the key things that is a lot of the realtors really appreciate, which will help you grow that realtor relationship, is the education level. So if you can host a continuing education class, if you have a builder or a construction person or a division president or an owner, and that person is comfortable doing some educational things, and so you start educating folks about the difference in why buy new is better, right? We all think new homes are better. If we don't, we probably shouldn't be here, right? But you can start educating those realtors, and they appreciate that, because imagine, put yourself in those shoes when somebody calls you. None of us like to be asked a question that we don't know the answer to. We all think we're professionals. We all think, I at least think I should know everything, right? And thank heaven I have people who teach me technology. Ask Jill Wise, who's on the call. She has to teach me every day, right? She's my personal tech support. But you should ask these realtors, what would you like to learn? It's scary selling a new home. Trust me, they don't get calls at 11:30 at night buying the used home that was built in 1984 about why their house is green on the outside. Is that mold? Is their house molded? You know, you don't get those calls. You don't get those calls at 11:30 at night of somebody in tears because they went in their house with a flashlight, even though you told them 73 times not to, and they signed the addenda in the contract that said that they wouldn't do it. And they were out there with their kids and a flashlight looking through the house, and they're sure that you built the wrong floor plan because the hallway is not as wide as it is as the one in the model. And if you've ever fielded those calls, you know what that's like. The realtors would like to know. They want to understand why the new home is better. And we do build beautiful new homes, and we should promote the heck out of that. So as you're promoting your company and branding your company, and you're sitting there scratching your head and trying to think about what you're going to talk about or which content you're going to put on your website, Carolyn, what content you're going to put on your blog post, that's a great tool. People love it. They want to understand why their new home is better. For what that's worth.
Shameless plug. I do run the Preferred Builder program as part of a silo for Berkshire Hathaway. And one of the things that we found is that by educating the realtors, teaching them, demystifying that process, it's amazing how you will have those fans for life. So, all right, Tammy, I think we're braced. Go ahead, break it to us. That this
okay.
I think she's going to tell us, guys.
Yeah,
it's not going to last forever.
Yeah. So, you know, we hear a lot out there, and I realize that, you know, sometimes, you know, you have to be thankful for what you have and don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as my grandma used to say, and I could give you 100 more of those, which y'all don't care about. We have to be careful. Those of us who remember the great market meltdown of 2005, 2006, 2007, I remember it very clearly. I was speaking at the Lake Norman HBA, and I was doing a seminar, and they were having cocktails and having the great HBA chicken, which is always the best, right? And cheap HBA wine, and it was great. And we were talking about the market, and here's what I heard. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Missy, because that stuff that's going on down there in Florida and out in Colorado, and I mean, out in Nevada and California, that isn't going to happen here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got a stable market. We've ran our market right. We're not going to have that. We're not going to be in trouble. That's those other places, Missy. So anything that goes with the Missy is never going to go your way, just so you all know, here in the South anyway. But don't count on this. The market meltdown happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. It wasn't very good. It wasn't as bad as it was in Central Florida. Thank you, Carol. See, Carol knows these. So yes, sometimes people will say, I don't need those stinking leads. I don't need any more. I've got more to do than I can. Buyers are still shopping. And although we like them to buy that home today, and yes, they think they want to buy one today, when you're buying a new home, you're buying the dream. We have an opportunity to sell them the dream. It's a house nobody else has lived in. They can personalize it. They can put their fingerprints all over it. They can mark their kids' heights on the wall with the little pencil in the closet door. They can buy the dream. And we have the opportunity to do that. Everybody on this call, unless you want to retire, right, which just sometime, right? You probably need a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you probably need to be selling homes. And if you need to be selling homes, you need to be putting people in the pipeline, or you won't have anybody to sell homes to when that time comes. So we're seeing some things that are a little scary, right? Foreclosure rates are rising. You can read these on the NAHB's website. I mean, everybody's just watched other things lately, but there's, foreclosures. What are we going to do? We have a lot of people who can't afford their house payment. Now, the new administration may do something. I don't know. My crystal ball is not clear, and I'm certainly not an economist, but we do have foreclosures rising. Those are going to be on the market. Carol had some comments on that earlier about foreclosures. You know, homeowners, we have homeowners who are getting these record prices, right, for their homes, but some of them want to move and some of them don't. We have the people moving out. What if we get the vaccine, and how many people are going to go back to their normal lifestyle and go, you know what, I didn't want to live 20 miles from nowhere, right? I want to be a mile from that Trader Joe's, and I want to be able to walk to restaurants, and you know, that may change. Sometimes we're in a pandemic here, and sometimes we're not always thinking super clearly. So we don't give up your future. Don't stop putting people in the pipeline. Your brand, don't stop branding your company. Don't stop your social media post or your rebranding campaigns, and your get those people in the pipeline. When you're super busy, sometimes it's a process, right? What is your process? Maybe it's a process change that needs to happen. The AI bots, when you hear Dave talk next month, I can promise you the AI bots can take a lot of stuff off your plate. It is amazing what those things can do. It amazes me every time I see one. So that could be a process. Maybe it's sometimes we get in a rut of we've got to follow up every 11 days. I send this person an email. Is that really that person? Kimberly talks a lot about asking the right questions. Are you asking the questions to define what you need to do? Because when somebody follows up with you every 11 days and you clearly told them that you're not going to move for 3 years until your child graduates from high school, but you're still looking, I want them to know what I'm selling 3 years from now. I want them to know what communities I have, but they don't need to hear from me every 11 days. It just makes them mad. They get frustrated. So anyway, we want to keep this, you got to keep your pipeline full. You got to keep thinking about this and planning for your future. Because I'm pretty sure that everyone on this call, me, right? Everybody on this call wants to still have a job and be selling and be working in the future. We don't want the spigot to turn off like it did in 2007, because it turned off like that.
So I don't even want to, I still have flashbacks to those days.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I still wake up in the middle of the night in a panic.
So we definitely have to accelerate our process here.
And boy, have we accelerated all sorts of things in the last year, right?
Yes.
You know, you look back and you're like, oh, that just happened a month or two ago. And then you realize, holy smokes, that was 14 months ago. It just seems like time, well, it has either drug by or flown by, and some weird combination of them both during this pandemic. You know, what I do like is all the advances in technology. So, you know, use that technology to accelerate your engagement so that you have more sales and so that you fill up that pipeline. There are lots of stealthy ways to do this, from retargeting on Facebook, Instagram, Google, all these different sites. You can retarget through the BDX. I don't know if Tammy's going to have time to tell us more about that today or not, but it's really, really cool. So find ways to accelerate that contact, accelerate that personalization, you know, fill up that leads pipeline, and, you know, make hay while the sun shines. I've heard several different salespeople say, you know, gosh, I'm just so busy. I'm working 7 days a week, but it's fine. It's fine. It's great. I've got it. Yes. I'm going to do this. And if I do this for the next 18 months or 2 years, that's great. I'm going to stock it all away, because we know the market won't always be this good.
I'm glad that it's almost a blessing that we had the downturns and it wasn't so long ago, and that it took us that long to come out of it. But one of the lessons that I wished we had learned then, and I hope that we learn now, because this acceleration of technology, I've been fond of saying, is don't put lipstick on a pig, to use another Southern expression. And technology will expose a lot of holes in your process. So if you are just throwing technology and thinking that's going to be your solution, it's not. So make sure that you are figuring out your underlying process and then applying the right technology to help manage it and help make it easier for your team, but process first. So Tammy, I'm going to speed up just a little bit here in the interest of time, but the key, I think we've hopefully made our point, is that just because you have a lead, people come in at different times in that process, and know where they are and have a plan in place to nurture those leads that aren't immediate conversions. And if you don't have an OSC, that is what an OSC does. They nurture that online sales counselor is nurturing them for a longer period of time than any salesperson with our ADHD that we have and bright, shiny objects. Woo, what's that? Oh, that's my hard hat. It's bright and shiny, right? A squirrel. You know, that's what salespeople, we want that bright, shiny object in front of us right now. But an OSC comes at it from a totally different perspective. And the chat bots, and again, being able to engage with people and stay connected with them. I love this. This all comes from a infographic from the BDX. So these fabulous infographics, the source is right down here at the bottom of the page. So make sure that you are checking that out, because it really is Tammy sent that to me and I was like, this is phenomenal. And this again is talking about your CRM and your internet sales counselor and all of the things, the checklist that you have to have. So, and then I'm going to jump right into our final point here, which is I want to talk about the 4 phases of negotiation. And you may go, Kimberly, are you smoking crack? We're not negotiating right now. Haven't you heard? It's a seller's market. Why would we negotiate anything? Negotiation is not just about price. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about this when we're talking about accelerating, converting the sale, because the first thing that you have to understand is that buyer starts negotiating with you when they decide to interact with you, when they decide to fill out that contact form, or they decide to go visit your Facebook page or your website, or make a comment on your ad that you have running on Facebook. That's when the negotiations start, when they first find you. So, and sometimes you don't even know about them at the point that they are already deciding whether you make the cut or not. There is no surprise that the first step in the 4 phases of negotiation is to relate. You have to be able to have a relationship with people and meet them on a very personal level where they need you to be, or you are not going to have very many people. You're not going to have very many prospects to get through the funnel. You have to explore, and another word for explore is discover. And I've gotten countless presentations out there. You can visit my website on discovery questions and my favorite discovery questions and what does it mean to discover. But when you're discovering, you want to find out those wants, the needs, the qualifications, the timing that we've talked about here today. Who else is going to be a part of your decision to move forward? Or who else is going to be a part of your decision to move forward today? You need to know who else is going to be there. And who might be living in that home now, or 5 years in the future, or 3 years in the future, or heaven forbid we have another pandemic. Now what happens? I have a neighbor who was trying to simplify her life and downsize, right? And now 2 of her kids are back from college, both with vehicles. Her daughter is also back and they're getting a divorce. She's getting a divorce. So she's got the 3 kids with her. And they have a minivan. And then, of course, the 2 primary buyers who thought they were going to have an empty nest. Oh, and the 19-year-old that never left for college because there's a pandemic. Now, all of a sudden, they're living somewhere where they don't have room for 5 cars, and it's very restrictive on where you're going to park. The buyers don't necessarily think through all this stuff. We have to ask them that. And that's part of that exploring before we ever propose or present any solutions to them. So we shouldn't be talking about homes and sites and all of those things until we have that thorough understanding of what it is that the buyer wants, needs, and can qualify for. So Dr. Covey says it to us a different way. He says, seek first to understand, then be understood. So make sure that you are spending time on that. And this is normally a much longer thing that we talk about, but that's when you arrive at an agreement. And an agreement in our world is, of course, writing the purchase agreement. So I wanted to make sure to get that in here today, because I think that's so important, because we try to come in at step 3, or we try to come in much further into that process. And if you're not doing 1 and 2, then you are missing out with potential opportunities. And we shouldn't, if you have a relationship with people, mistakes can happen. Stuff can get broken, windows can get broken, construction can get delayed, things can happen through the process. But because you have a relationship with that buyer, they're going to understand, as long as we're communicating with them and building that relationship. So with that being said, Carol, you want to tell what's happening on February 19th?
Sure. We are very excited that Dave Betcher, who is the Senior VP and Home Builder Practice Leader for Atlas RTX, is going to join us to talk all about chatbots. You know, our chatbots and automation taking over the world. So if you have chatbot questions, this is going to be the webinar for you. February 19th, again at noon on a Friday. See you there.
So, and Mike says butter his buns and call him a biscuit. I love the Southern. So
That's awesome.
We've had to go really fast today. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And Debbie, we're glad we're educating you on our Southern colloquialisms. So, all right, everybody, have a great day. And thanks so much for joining us.
Happy weekend.